We know most of us prefer not to think so, but celebrities really are a special class of people. The fame, money, and stress of being a celebrity put them in vastly different conditions when compared with the rest of society. Some celebs can handle those conditions pretty well and navigate the pitfalls of human interaction without too much difficulty, while some celebs turn into a raging dumpster fire as soon as a journalist shows up with cameras in tow. We're sure these celebrities don't want to appear as the insane monsters they come off as. It's just that their lives are so far removed from the normal human experience that interacting with someone in a normal way is alien to them. Or they just have so much money that they couldn't care less what other people think. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between the two. Whatever the reason, when celebrities go nuts on camera, they do it in a big way. Here are 5 of the craziest celebrity interviews caught on tape. Related: Jim Carrey has crazy existential interview at New York Fashion Week in what has got to be the craziest interview ever recorded. Charlie Sheen's is so obviously coked out of his mind as he appears on Good Morning America that aspiring actors now use it as an example of how to appear like a drug addict. Back in 2011, Sheen was fired from his hit sitcom 2.5 Men after he publicly made derogatory statements against Chuck Lorre, the series' creator, and Warner Bros., his employer. The actor was attending a rehab program while the show was on hiatus, but after he got canned, all semblance of sobriety went out the window. His drug-fueled rampage took him through several interviews, culminating in the ABC interview, where he suggested he was not bipolar but bewitching and had tiger blood flowing through his veins. Via stereogun.com, this one wasn't caught on tape, but it definitely bears mentioning. John Mayer is famously verbose when it comes to his interviews, and the singer certainly spoke his mind in an interview with Playboy magazine back in 2010. The interview ranged over a number of subjects, but eventually wound up on race relations and how he interacts with his African-American fans. Things seemed to be going fine up until he dropped an N-bomb. Someone asked me the other day, what does it feel like now to have a hood passes? And by the way, it's sort of a contradiction in terms, because if you really had a hood pass, you could call it a nigger pass. It gets better. After the interviewer asks whether Mayer can have any black woman he wants, he responds, I don't think I open myself to it. My DCK is sort of like a white supremacist. I've got a Benetton heart and a fucking David Duke cock. I'm going to start dating separately from my DCK. He'd later apologize for his remarks, but not before being lambasted by the black community. Related: John Mayer and Nicki Minaj are flirting on Twitter. It's hard not to like Vin Diesel. The action star is a self-professed nerd, voices adorable characters like Groot and the Iron Giant, and makes gloriously terrible movies for our entertainment. But put a pretty lady in front of him, and he turns into a giant sleazeball. In this 2016 interview promoting the release of his new movie, XXX Return of Xander Cage, Diesel literally cannot get over how attractive the interviewer is. He goes on for over a minute and a half, totally derailing whatever conversation was supposed to happen until the poor journalist is forced to just get up and leave. Related: Vin Diesel wanted a lot of money for his Hollywood home. Jonah Hill is notoriously difficult to interview. This year he cancelled all his interviews in France after a French interview made a small joke at his expense. Mention his weight or how he was the comedic relief in whatever film he was just in, and you're likely to set him off. This interview for his 2007 movie Superbad, arguably the film that launched his career, goes all the way south after the interviewer provocatively says that Hill is funnier than Michael Cera because of his weight. To be fair to Hill, this guy clearly wanted to get a rise out of him and didn't care if it tanked the interview, but being a movie star also means not taking the bait from jerk reporters. This time, and many other times, Hill took the bait hook, line, and sinker. Related: Jonah Hill's best moments. We're going way back for this one. Back in 2005, Tom Cruise was only just starting to date his soon-to-be third wife Katie Holmes. During an interview on the Oprah Winfrey Show, Cruz publicly announced his love to Katie, despite the fact they'd only been dating for a month, and he literally cannot contain his joy. The only problem is it sort of comes off as insanity. He tears around the studio, briefly wrestles with Oprah, who herself seems at a loss on how to calm the crazy actor down, before finally going backstage to drag Holmes out to a screaming audience. 5.5 years later, they filed for divorce. Because Cruz was more crazy than in love.